Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's midweek review. Hopefully, your trading has been good this week, even though we are having quite a bit of volatility within the market. So let's get right into it here. Looking at the ES futures here, we can see that we've been down, up, and then finally we actually got another update today. But from a swing trader's perspective, this is very hard to capture moves when a market is giving you moves that are just pinging back and forth. It Volatility is leading to me to kind of more sit on my hands, sit in cash positions, and not be in many plays right now. But that being said, let's look at the setups that we could potentially see throughout the market and things we need to be looking at. So looking at the ES here, once again looking at its structure, we rejected that 21, fell to this -3 ATR, bounced, rejected the 21 again, and then fell back down to the -2 ATR levels. It was pinging forth back in here, and now we're finally getting a push, which looks like it should be reverting back to the mean. Another thing to note here is that we do have a low compression squeeze setting up. If we can get that push up to this 21 EMA, I think that'd be a good place to maybe look to get some more shorts on the table, because we do have this histogram below the zero line on the TTM squeeze, and our structure is looking quite bearish. So if we can get back up to that level, I will definitely be looking for a few more shorts to add to the positions. And then also, if we look at a weekly time frame, this is one thing that's making me a little apprehensive about actually getting too short, is that the weekly time frame is still holding good structure. We are closing above that 21 EMA on the weekly time frame here. We get the flushes down here, but we're still closing above it. We get the flush here, but we're still closing above it. I know we still have Thursday and Friday, so we could see more selling where we do get our first close below the 21, but that's just something to be looking at this week and kind of watching closely to see if it can hold that level, or if we do see it finally break below that level. If we do get that break, I will definitely be looking heavier on the shorts. As of now, the daily structure though is still not ideal, so this does still lead me to go more towards the shorts. But if we could get a bounce off that 21 EMA in the weekly, we could maybe see a reversal here on the market itself. Now if we go look at the Qs have been absolutely smacked. So just like the ES, came up here, reverted back to the 21, and then just fell. It fell all the way down to this -3, and now we are starting to try to revert back up, hopefully to this 21 EMA. You never know, you could get the rejection here at this 8 EMA like we did on this candle back here. But we are seeing now 2 bars of yellow, which means we are gaining bullish momentum and we're losing bearish momentum, but ideally want to see this squeeze histogram get back above this zero line before we're actually more bullish on the Qs here. If we look at the weekly time frame on the Qs, similar story here to the ES. It's still holding that 21. We have our stacked DMAs and we're in an acceleration stage. So everything about its weekly structure is still very bullish to me. And if we look back here in time, we can see that you get these flushes below the 21, but every time you're closing above it, that's when you can kind of get these pushes back up to the upside. Same thing here, you get those flushes, you close still above the 21, you get these nice pushes. That could definitely be a situation that happens here as well. We could get this nice flush to the 21, and this could be a great buying place for a lot of people to then maybe have it push to that upside. But we also could see it finally getting a close below that, where we start to break structure, and then we could see more bearishness in the market. So these are definitely key levels you are wanting to look at on the weekly time frames for both the ES and the NASDAQ. Those are key levels, so definitely something to look at for the rest of the week and where they can close out at. Now looking at the Dow here. The Dow is looking a little more interesting than the other ones. The other ones are still a little farther away from their mean here. The Dow is actually getting pretty close to its mean. So we have this daily squeeze. Our histogram bars are still below zero, so that's still leading me to believe it is bearish. Our structure is also bearish. We have no stacked DMAs, and we're trading below that 21. So if we can get this push up into this 21 EMA region, I will definitely be looking to maybe gather another short position on this one here. And then if we look at the weekly time frame, it is very similar to the other ones. It's trying to reclaim that 21. It is actually below it, and we did get our first close last week on it. So that is an indication that this could come up here, reject that 21, and we could see more selling. So that's something to definitely watch if it recaptures that level or if it rejects that level, and you could see a lot more selling down to probably the -2 or the -3 ATR on that weekly time frame. Last but not least is the Russell. So once again, we've kind of just been pinging back and forth in this range. We have the resistance up at this level, and then we have the support down here. If we zoom in here, we do have a daily squeeze setting up, but we don't have stacked EMAs. We aren't closing above the 21, so definitely look for this one to start rolling over, and I do think that we could go have that squeeze fire, and we could retest the support level at the bottom here before maybe seeing a reversion back to that upside. Now looking at the weekly chart, this one also has a weekly squeeze that's been sitting in for a while. Our histogram is below that 0 line, and we do have red bars, which is bearish. One thing to kind of note of here is that if this squeeze does start to fire to the downside, one level we'll need to watch is this 50-period moving average. If it can hold that level and maybe revert off of it, I do think that this squeeze could then potentially fire to the upside. If we break that level, then I'm definitely looking for the small caps to have a pretty large fall back down to probably this -2 or -3 ATR. So definitely a level to watch is that 50 moving average. The other level to watch is that 21 EMA. If we can the rest of the week get maybe a strong push here where you're closing above it, that could potentially change the color of this histogram bar as well. So definitely something to watch the rest of the week. So now the last thing I kind of want to go over is the main thing I've been watching this week actually, and it's VIX. So volatility this week has been quite crazy. We have a lot of spikes in price, a lot of falls in price. You wake up one morning, the futures are down a bunch, and then throughout the day they're jumping up a bunch, especially today. We were down, I think, at one point in the ES like 50, and we closed in the green today. It just shows that we have a lot of volatility coming into the market, and one thing that I've noticed is that the VIX is basically telling me exactly what's going to happen. So we're kind of range bound here at 2084 to 24.4. So if you look here, you had this large push up into that level, rejected it, tried to push up again past it, rejected it once again. And in those pushes, that's when you had a lot of selling. When you get these nice falls, that's when all these stocks are being bought up, and that's when we're getting these nice green days on the market. So red day, green day, red day, green day, red day, green day, red day, green day. It just keeps going back and forth, picking between these levels. So a key thing I think we all should be watching for tomorrow is that we are rejecting that level once again, and we're coming down to test support. If we break through that level, I think that we could go retest this 20 level, which is usually like a good place. I like to see VIX trading at below for stocks to have a nice continuation, usually to the upside. But if we don't surpass that level when we reject it, we start bouncing again, I will definitely be looking to get into a few puts. Just because history usually does repeat itself. So if this is how it's been acting before, it could definitely act like that again, and that's definitely something to be watching basically into tomorrow, if that level can hold or if it surpasses that level. So this is kind of the key areas that I'm looking at on the VIX, and I really do hope that you guys can use this for your own trading and understand how the VIX can help you and develop you as a little better trader, because this will lead you to where the markets will go up or down. So this is the midweek review. Hopefully it all gives you a better understanding of where the markets are and where they could potentially go. And let's go out there tomorrow and make some more money at the end of the week. Have a great one, everyone.